Boxes, log in. We waited a year to farm boxes again. Think. 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 Hey guys, I want to go over today how I made 3+ mirrors so far in the Secrets League, going over the strats I use, going over the still good, and yeah, all that. So first things first, what did I do to start the league? And that was Legion, of course. I went over this in my first video briefly, but I want to make a more so full explanation of what you should do at Legion now, especially with current scare prices since they are pretty cheap. Yeah, the first thing I did was Legion. If you're wondering, Legion is still very, very good, and I can recommend it. I'll recommend what to do with Legion as well, so you can even make more profit as of right now, because the scarabs have, directly went down in price. Like all the rusted and polished scarabs are actually pretty cheap now. This was the Legion tree I used. I'll have this link down below. This is like the easy Legion tree where you're taking shrines, you're not really taking map effect. You're taking like Nico nodes, or I didn't take Nico nodes, I did at the start. But yeah, you're taking shrines that give yourself like a lot of player power. If you do more player power, you take these Nico nodes right here with packed with energy to give you like increased damage and movement speed. This is still a very, very good strat, especially once you start using scarabs. It's very, very important to use scarabs for this strat. Yeah, I'm going to have all this linked down below. So this is the easy Legion tree, which I do recommend to do. If you're going to farm maps though, which is what I'm going to recommend, you also should take this node, Shaping the World, which you do have the spare points to do. This was a 123 tree because it was supposed to be meant for like the first few days or the first day where you don't have that much Atlas points. But if you do have more Atlas points, do take all these map nodes. Because what I'm going to recommend for Legion right now, especially with how good scarab prices are, is you should use 3 rusted Legion scarabs, so the basic ones, 1 officer, and most importantly, 1 cartograph escalation. With the price of Fortress and how cheap these are, I think there's in total this setup's like 10 chaos per map. With this setup, if you run 8 mod maps, you usually drop 1 tier 17 every other map, which is 100 chaos every 2 maps guaranteed, and then everything else on top is just more profit. Now, if you run like 4 mod maps or 6 mod maps, you can expect 1 tier 17, maybe like every 3 maps or so, maybe 4 maps. But yeah, you want to run this on dunes, and preferably you run 8 mod maps. 8 mod maps give you a lot more quant and pack size, which is very, very nice for escalation as well, because escalation uses more maps per each modifier. So yeah, 8 mod maps with this setup is actually pretty good profit right now because of how expensive Fortress is. If you can't run 8 mod, it's fine. Run 4 to 6 mod, do the exact same setup. It will be less profitable because you won't be getting as many maps, and getting more maps right now is insane profit because stuff like the tier 16.5 dunes sell for so much. These right now, as far as I'm aware, these sell for like 70 chaos. So not only you'll be farming like 100 chaos fortress, you'll also be farming 70 chaos dunes. So yeah, I do highly recommend to always be using the cartograph scarab right now. It's only 2 chaos, and you're gonna be dropping more tier 17s, more tier 16.5s, and just a lot more profit. So yeah, use 3 basic rusted Legion scarabs, 1 officer, and 1 escalation, preferably 8 mod. If not, just alch and go. Make sure you're always using the regular chisel, of course, even if you're just doing alch and go. Very, very strong strat right now. You can definitely make a lot of currency with this. The scarabs are cheap enough to where you should be using it. So that was my starter strat. For me at the start, I didn't use scarabs because they're way too expensive, but now they are affordable. Next strat I went into is was straight boxes, which, no surprise to anyone. Boxes didn't get nerfed. They didn't really touch them besides the rusted scarab, which didn't matter. Yeah, boxes are still king. They're still one of the best farmer strats in the game. They didn't touch them. So what is the box strat? What do you do? So this is the Atlas tree. It's pretty simple. You take all map effect, you take all the box nodes, and you just take scarab nodes with their points because nothing else really matters. You can do red or you can do blue altars. I personally be doing red because the blue altar nerf, or the generic altar nerf for quant, made the blue altars a little bit less better. May also swap over back to blue. It doesn't matter all that much, to be honest. You don't get that many altars doing a containment. The scarabs you're using is, of course, potency, containment, discernment, ambush, and hidden compartments. This is the classic box setup that we did all last league, and it's still just as good this league. Besides that, you're of course using ambush on the map device. And by the way, for the Legion strat, you should be using Legion on the map device. Pretty obvious, but I wanted to mention it. The ambush on the map device with all these box scarabs, and then of course you run a tier 17 fortress. So I have all these rolled already. You want to run a tier 17 fortress, preferably like 120% or more currency. The higher the more currency, the better. It just depends how much you want to roll your maps, how much chaos you want to use per map, how good your build is, all that. I try to go for 140% more usually. So yeah, that's what I roll for. But the higher currency is better. And you also want to use one Delirious Orb. It doesn't matter which orb. It can be any. It's just to add extra monsters into your maps. Once again, this is not needed. You don't have to use Deli, but it is extra juice. It's extra currency gains. That is the strat. You run tier 17 Fortress. The fragments are worth a lot. The yoke is still worth a lot. And it's also just a really good map because the barrels in that map drop like natural currency. So very, very strong shot right now, and this will stay strong. If you're wondering, okay, containment's expensive, is this still worth it? If you're wondering after the video comes out, the answer is yes. From data from last week, containment even at 2 divines is still worth it. It really is just that good. Keep in mind though, you should not start this strat unless you have like 10 plus maps prepared, because to make your money back, you have to sell everything, like the scarabs, the divination cards, the raw currency, right? So don't start the strat unless you can just do like 10 plus maps in a row, because you do have to sell everything back to actually get that profit. So that is pretty much the strat I just used for 2 days straight. And that's how I farmed like 2 raw mirrors. And my character itself is probably like 1 mirror. So 3 mirrors total, right? So yeah, that is the strat I use. It's still really good. I'm probably gonna do more today. I'm personally waiting for the tier 16.5 buffs before messing with them. SGG did say they are gonna buff tier 16.5s, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. Now, another question I get is, can I do box in tier 16s? You can't do this box strat in tier 16s. You can do this in tier 16.5s. That's completely fine because you can roll more currency on this. You can try another strat. I don't know how good it is because it did get nerfed, but essentially it's the exact same Atlas tree, except you use 3 rusted ambush, the 3 regular ambush scarabs, 1 discernment, and 1 reopen. You still use ambush map device, and then you just do 8 mod tier 16 dunes. I don't know how good this is. This was the strat that was decent last week, but this is the one they nerfed. This one from 5 boxes to 3. You can try this out. Once again, don't know how good it'll be, but it might be decent. But yeah, don't run containment and regular tier 16s. It won't be worth it. Tier 16.5s are fine, and tier 17s are optimal because of how much boss fragments and a yoke is worth right now. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. That's pretty much how I farmed all of my currency so far. 3 mirrors in total. I'm going to farm a few more mirrors with this because mirrors are still relatively cheap, and this box strategy is still really, really good. I do want to try some tier 16.5 strats out. But yeah, I'm waiting for the buffs, and the only good one seems to be from the All Flame that is currently worth like 170 chaos or something. So yeah, this one's already found out, and it's already extremely expensive because there's not that much supply. You have to get it from Syndicate. Yeah, I do want to try out tier 16.5s, but right now containment is just way too good to not do. I can easily make 1 mirror a day, just continue doing containment. So it's what I will be doing. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. But yeah, that's about it.